I don't know how we can motivate, how can we mobilise people to just try and bring into clubs music with a bit more interest, a bit more soul. I mean, we were playing the amazing, some of the amazing kind of, like Shuggy Otis we played earlier, and some Quincy, it's like, what since when have people kind of lost sight of all this
Everyone would
stuff?
enjoy that. It's not like you go into somewhere, they'd hear that and they go, oh no, I'm not staying there. The music's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
They'd stay for the music, if anything.
And I don't know whether it's something about house music that means it's so sort of innocuous that it's like wallpaper and therefore it's easy to talk, you're not sidetracked by the music. Is that the reasoning behind it? I don't know,
I
but...
find it distracting, actually. Really distracting.
Right, yeah.
I think it's actually like takes away from whatever flavor of food I'm trying to enjoy.
There's a couple of restaurants I've been to where it's deafening even as you're having your meal, which is a strange, and particularly as well is that I find I'm almost eating in time to the music, which is really unsettling. And so I don't know if there's something we can do with the web. Or the web, can the web be used in some way? I don't really know what I mean, but there must be a way of somehow using the net.
You should just send CDs to people.
Okay.
And put the tracks that you would like to listen to on the CD.
Or maybe
at
there's
any given restaurant.
Maybe I could just walk in with it.
Yeah, be like, here you go.
Stick this on.
Maybe listeners could let us know either places that are particularly bad for that sort of music, or equally places that are very good and have a good selection of tunes.
And maybe also if
Michelin guide
based
on music.
And also if they're perhaps club owners or restaurant owners themselves, like they're listening. But people with a job. But yeah, well, how would people get in touch though, Harry?
Well, what they would probably do, Steve, is either text us on 64046 or they'd email us at stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. Now, they could just type that email address into their browsers, or what they could do is go to the Six Music website at www.bbc.co.uk/sixmusic and follow the links. I almost did that seamlessly. I don't think anyone
I think you missed the W out of the web address, but I think we'll be alright with that.
Who doesn't know there's 3 W's?
Exactly.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, get in touch if you'd like to get behind it. Maybe we'll get some kind of online petition or something going.
That would be great.
And present it to Gordon Brown. That could be his first move as Prime Minister. I like to occasionally play some hip-hoppery on the show, as you know, and I've chosen this one by the Sons of Man, who are sort of members originally of the kind of vast Wu-Tang clan. They're sort of a large group of sort of outreach people who go out there and sort of bring in young hip-hoppers and make them part of the Wu-Tang cabal. And this was a gang of them, Sons of Man, in the track Shining Star. Sons of Man, Shining Star, the hip-hop choice on this week's Steve show. Back after this Glastonbury trail with Art Brut. This show will be coming live from Glastonbury next week. Harry and Rufus are joining me down there. I'm trying to persuade them to sleep together in a small one-man tent for my amusement. So good luck with that. And hopefully we'll have some guests on the show and maybe some live music and obviously live performances from the various acts. I was just launching my campaign to get house music banned from clubs and bars. How's that going, Harry?
Going
well?
Incredibly well. Someone's just confirmed that, yes, you do eat in posh restaurants, because they were sat opposite you last night.
That's right, yes, I was there, but that was a restaurant without the incessant which is all that I seem to hear now as I go in clubs. Or if I'm stood outside waiting to go in, that sort of thing, yeah. But yeah, it just annoys me and it frustrates me. I like to occasionally keep people abreast of, what's been happening in music news, and I read this in, I think it was in The Guardian, but actually it came from Q magazine, and it's a fantastic interview with Sean Ryder and Bez, and some of you may have already read it, but if you've not seen it already, it just captures these guys fantastically, and they have, I think, got new music coming out, so I'm sure we'll play that one week. Rufus, you're a trained actor. If I can ask you to take the role of Sean Ryder, I'm just going to reenact this conversation, and I'll take the part of Bez.
All we got to talk with are our effing mouths, which seems to me quite primitive. Me and Bez talk with our minds.
I remember the first time we done it, obviously I'm not going to do the accent, it'll be embarrassing. I remember the first time we'd done it, we'd just done the stingle Freaky Dancing and got home and we could telepathically talk to each other. The interviewer says, "Were you on drugs?"
Of course we were. We were taking large amounts of microdot acid. It doesn't mean you have to poo-poo it.
Fantastic. I love him. I absolutely adore him. A man who believes, even while taking acid, that he can telepathically speak with his maraca playing friend. Maybe that was quite well done, Rufus. I quite was impressed by the accent. I didn't make as much of an effort, but perhaps that's what we'll do from now on. We can recreate classic rock interviews.
Yeah.
With you perhaps playing a John Lennon or a Kurt Cobain.
And you'll just do your normal...
Fantastic. I'll just do my regular voice. But this could be amazing. We could bring alive, great rock stars again and find out how they tick.
Worth a shot.
Well, listen, I got nothing to be honest, on this show. I'm running on empty. I really am. So any ideas now have got to be worth it.
Well, luckily, Steve, Em's come in on the text from Manchester. She says that she once went to a curry house which played Indian versions of ABBA.
Wow.
Which sounds incredible. Now, that's the sort of curry house you'd go to. But curry houses generally don't play house music, so...
No,
it's not
they
really
generally
a
avoided
huge
it. Well, it's a
diversion.
campaign that's going to run and run, and as I say, I'm sure we can mobilise the listenership in some way, and no doubt make no impact whatsoever. Here's Nag 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 Nag, Art Brute on the Steve Show. Nag, 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 nag. Normally we like to get a listener on the phone to make a suggestion. That's very much part of the show. It's an interactive programme. But thanks to Mr. Russell Howard, who spilt tea all over the control desk earlier and forced us to move into another studio, we can do that. So he's not only ruined his own programme and much of the expensive electronic equipment, but he's also ruined this programme. And this show was so good, I thought we'd pop it in for a Sony Award. Turns out we can't anymore because he's let us down. So, frustratingly, we can't get our caller on the line to talk about the choice that they've made. It was going to be Alex from Bournemouth, and he was going to choose the Beatles track Tomorrow Never Knows. I mean, it's a curious one to choose because often we get callers in to sort of introduce us to bands that perhaps we're unfamiliar with. The Beatles I've heard of, I'm across them a little, but nevertheless, Rufus, what can you tell me about the Alex from Bournemouth? I don't know if that's a guy or a girl, actually.
Well, you know, if he was from somewhere other than Bournemouth, I might attempt an accent, and then we could recreate our magical moment of Radio Gold with the Bez and Sean Ryder earlier on, and you could interview me as Alex.
All right. Well, which voice can you do? Which accent can you do?
We shall go for Liverpool.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
That's all right.
And no doubt there's obviously why you've chosen the Beatles, because you bloody love them because you're from Liverpool.
Yeah, well, my dad used to work at the Cavern Club where they played in the early days, you know, in the late, really early 60s before they went to Hamburg and that. So yeah,
Right. Good.
big fan.
Right, let's hear it then.
Yeah, Tomorrow Never Knows.
Oh, I'll tell you, the message boards are going to be furious. I've had to interrupt the Beatles. I do apologise. The whole thing's fallen apart because of the disruption caused by having to shift studios. And I can only apologise to Beatles fans, although I think there's very few people listening who haven't heard that track before. So, and then perhaps you could go and buy it, you lazy sods, if you really want to hear the end. No, the reason I have to stop it is because I wanted to play a track for fathers everywhere, and particularly my dad on Father's Day. Hopefully he's listening, and I've chosen Bobby Darin's fantastic version of Matt the Knife. I've still got time, though, to thank everyone who's been here today, and I appreciate Harry coming in. He's a bank. A little round of applause in the Steve Wright Star.
Thanks,
Keep that going, please, for Sammy from Newcastle. Yeah, well done. And also Rufus, super posh. And also Rashida. She's flown in all the way, and she's got to go straight back now to America on her glamorous life. So I'll leave you with Matt the Knife, and we'll be back next week live from Glastonbury. Oh, here we are then. Oh, man alive, exhausted. I don't know about you guys.
I'm absolutely broken.
I am. I'm exhausted just from getting this show together.
Yeah.
Not from Glastonbury itself. I've barely had a chance to see the music, frankly. Because, frankly, it's chaos here. If anyone was hoping to listen to the Music Week show earlier, that will be coming up after this programme. Because, and I think in a way it typifies Glastonbury, really, is that in the way that there is mud and squalor and degradation everywhere, so too in this BBC Six Music porter cabin. Because I'm afraid to say that there was all kinds of electronical problems, and the engineers in there have worked brilliantly, and they've got us back up and running, and we're back on air, which is exciting. So basically all I'm saying to you, the listeners, is it probably sounds seamless to you out there. Down here, chaos.
Can we blame Russell Howard for the technical problems this week?
I was going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you remember last week, he spilt coffee back in London, and it's as though somehow that has seeped through into the BBC, into every aspect of the BBC. I don't know, maybe BBC Three now, it's broadcasting, it's probably dropped off air, and they've replaced it with some Little Britain outtakes. Who knows? But we're up and running. We started off with The Enemy and Had Enough, who I hope played just recently on the other stage. Obviously, I wasn't able to check them out because I was busy running around trying to get stuff ready for the show. But hopefully, it's some good stuff. We've got Billy Bragg. We spoke to him earlier, and he played for us as well. We'll be playing that later, and we're big Billy fans, so that was exciting. We had a word with the Kaiser Chiefs. Hopefully, Willie Mason's coming up later if he can get through the mud. And we'll just give you hopefully a sense and a flavour of our experience of Glastonbury this year. Plus, of course, playing only songs that have been made by people who've played at the Glastonbury Festival this year. So I know it may seem like a cheap gimmick, but I thought it might give a certain coherence to the show. So only artists that played at Glastonbury, and also lots of live tracks as well that have come. We've recorded here on site, and they're being rushed to us now through the mud and dead people. Who knows? I don't know what it's like out there. It looks like the Battle of the Somme has taken place. We had to start off with The Enemy and Go Team. I know you're a big fan, Harry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, don't speak yet because I'm introduced you.
Oh yeah.
All right, you've ruined it. We'll have Bottle Rocket from the Go Team, and then we'll come back and we'll get our heads together. All right, here we go. playing tonight, hopefully, around 7:30 on the other stage. That's the Go Live. It's the Steve Show, me, Steve Merchant, and with me, of course, my cronies. These are the lucky guys that won the lottery to come to Glastonbury, and we shall find out now whether it was indeed a prize worth fighting for. We've got Harry, he works in a bank, but now he's covered in mud.
Yeah, right,
Steve.
Steve.
In the Steve Wright style, plus, of course, super posh Rufus. And so, well, first I'll come to you, Rufus. You know, this is you're a virgin.
I'm a complete virgin.
In every sense,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
particularly Glastonbury.
Yeah.
You arrived Friday night with me and the gang.
Yeah.
What was your first impression?
Well, as I think I said to both you and Harry, staggering amounts of bureaucracy.
There are. This is the sort of thing I would expect you to be annoyed about.
Yeah,
straight away. You know,
I always find a problem.
Not where can I buy beer, but the bureaucracy. It's a headache.
I've never seen so many people with so many different coloured laminates, wristbands. I mean, anyone who's at Glastonbury and has been will know that it's a system of which area you can go into, which you can't, how you can get from one stage to another, and it can be a bit of a trial getting all that sorted out. But once you've got it, you feel like king of the hill, and you kind of, you know, you get access to certain areas. And then as soon as I arrived on site itself, I was like a kid arriving in New York for the first time. My eyes were popping out of my head.
That wasn't because of drugs.
No,
because we shouldn't.
we should say that every few minutes, I think.
Yes, just
none of the
that-
experiences we have had, and none
Exactly.
of the hyperboles which I'm employing have anything to do with past or present drug use.
No one else, I suspect, at Glastonbury has used the word hyperbole, which
No,
I can't even pronounce it.
No, or spell it.
It's a shame, anyway, because obviously I do not advocate drugs in any way, but it's a shame that there's I'm sure in the 60s, if we'd been broadcasting from Glastonbury, you know, some man in a DJ would have sat in a little studio and said, I'm experiencing LSD now.
Yes,
I'm
yeah,
taking it, it's all gone very strict. It would be, you know, it's a shame we can't recreate those heady moments, but we can, it's illegal.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't.
All right,
we
so
won't.
let's not advocate it.
But I'm just loving every single aspect of it, and I've spent some time kind of. Harry and I are going to play some of our experiences of roving around with the mic, interviewing people, meeting you know, people in tents, people in circus, all sorts of stuff, and we've had a quite extraordinary time meeting and greeting.
Harry, of course, famously, your last time at Glastonbury was a washout in every sense.
It was a disaster. Yeah, I left before it even started.
You arrived on the Thursday, you were gone by the Friday morning.
Yeah, my friend's tent was washed away. There were rivers running past my tent, so I gave up my tent, which was quite an honourable thing to do. And I drove home, but of course I had my mother's car with me, so I was covered in filth. So I had to disrobe, and I drove home in my pants.
Nice. That's beautiful.
So got back to Bristol and parked the car on the drive, and in full view of the neighbours, paraded down the drive wearing me pants.
And this time, any different for you? Is it a new experience?
Well, I've heard a lot of people say that we've had as much rain as we had in 2005. Don't believe it. That's propaganda. It's not as bad. But it's dirty, but it's still a wonderful experience. The thing about Glastonbury, which frustrates, but is also the most incredible thing, is there's so much going on. You can't even hope to see, you know, a 50th of what's happening. And so you do have to pick and choose. You have to be very careful about what you're going for. And the thing is, you can come back from Glastonbury, talk to someone else who's there, and just have had a completely different experience, and that, I think, is the wonderful thing about it.
Well, as you say, we'll be trying to give you a flavour of our experience later in the show, as I say, plus we've got live music and we've got stuff that's coming in, being hot-footed, as I say, from the stages as it's recorded live. But another of the bands playing here, Mumra, and this was a little favourite single we enjoyed a couple of weeks back. Let's hear it. Mumra, She's Got You High, it's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music, live from the Glastonbury Festival. And we were just trying to give you a sense of the vibe and how we've enjoyed it, because I have to say, I'm not a man who's naturally given to walking around in 3 feet of mud. Let me tell you why. I'm too complacent and successful and wealthy, and I don't need to do it. And I was frustrated. I thought there would at least be someone on the text offering a helicopter. I've had nothing.
didn't happen.
And it tells you exactly what people think of me. And I was deeply angry. I actually feel insulted. It's like, you know, that's the thing about radio, is sometimes you can put out a shout, and if you don't get a response you're looking for, it's a bit like that idea of if you could go to your own funeral, you get a sense of what people make of you. You know, I'm sure if Chris Moyle said, you know, can I get a chopper, there'd be any number of calls coming in. So obviously I'm angry and annoyed by that. But it means I've had to fend for myself. It means I've had to walk and traipse through the mud, you know, and have I enjoyed it, Har?
I think you have.